Bumbleford, City of Fear. This town's in the grip of a biscuity crime wave. Who can outwit these snack-snatching wrongdoers?
My name is Sarah McIntyre, and I was wondering if you recognize those two rascally guinea pigs. They appear in two other of my books with Philip Reeve, The Legend of Kevin and Kevin's Great Escape. And we so liked making them, but we thought it would be more fun to make them run amok in a third book, Kevin and the Biscuit Bandit. Their names are Neville and Beyoncé. Today I'm going to tell you a bit more about how we make stories, and then I'm going to lead you in making your own Neville and Beyoncé heist comic, so they get to have a whole new adventure. And you're going to need a few pieces of paper and something to write with. Now you may be wondering, who is this Philip Reeve and who am I? Well, I'm a writer and an illustrator, and on these books we're co-authors. We come up with the ideas together. So I've made a little animation to help explain things a little more. Here's Philip Reeve.
Hello everyone.
You might wonder how we make books together. First, we brainstorm lots of ideas. Then Philip writes the story. But he calls me if he needs some help. Then I draw the story. And I call Philip when I need help. You may also be wondering, who is this Kevin and why do we keep making books about him? Well, let's dip into this book for a little introduction. Here you can see Bumbleford, the police station, the pin board, and lots of the details of that, which you'll have fun looking at if you get the book. And there's Neville and Beyoncé. And here we go. This is Kevin. Kevin is a flying pony. But he's just not just any old flying pony. Oh no. Roly-poly flying ponies are the best sort of flying ponies. Kevin lives in a town called Bumbleford. He has a big raggedy nest on the roof of the tall building where his friends Max and Daisy live. Kevin's favorite things to do are flying around with Max and Daisy and eating biscuits. Kevin absolutely loves biscuits. His favorites are custard creams, but he also likes bourbons, pink wafers, chocolate chip cookies, chocolate digestives, jammy dodgers, and bonk on the head biscuits. Those are the chocolatey marshmallow ones in the red and silver wrappers. You know the ones. Some people say that eating all these biscuits is what made Kevin so roly-poly, but Kevin doesn't mind. He thinks he's just the right shape for a flying pony. Now you know who Kevin is. Let me fill you in on the Biscuit Bandit. The Biscuit Burglaries. It was midnight in Bumbleford. Max and Daisy were snoring in their beds. Kevin was snoozing in his nest on the roof, and even the ducks and swans and moorhens on the River Bumble were asleep, with their heads tucked under their wings. But those ducks and swans and moorhens were about to get a rude awakening because the burglar alarm in the supermarket in Bumbleford High Street suddenly went off, splashing blue light across the shop fronts and filling the midnight air with noise. Down on the river, the swans and moorhens stuck their wings over their ears and grumbled about the racket. And a duck started writing a letter of complaint to the town council. Quack, 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 quack. And just as they were starting to get used to the ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding noise, it was joined by a second noise, a sort of woo, woo, that grew louder and louder as the Bumbleford police force's fastest patrol car came racing into town to investigate. The Bumbleford Police's Force fastest patrol car was also its only patrol car, and it wasn't even all that fast, because until very recently there hadn't really been much crime to fight in Bumbleford. In the past 20 years, the Bumbleford Police Force had only dealt with one serious incident, and that was just somebody punching a dustbin. But now all that had changed. For 7 nights in a row, Bumbleford had been rocked by burglaries, and those beastly burglars were only interested in one thing: biscuits. The newsagent, the delicatessen, and all of the cafes had been robbed, their shelves of biscuits mysteriously emptied in the night. When the mayor called an emergency meeting to discuss the crisis, she had opened the town hall biscuit tin to discover that somebody had pinched all her ginger nuts. All over town, people were putting padlocks on their lunch boxes and burglar alarms on their larders. No one knew where the biscuit bandit would strike next. Bumbleford had become a city of fear. Woo! 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 Went the patrol car. It screeched to a stop outside the supermarket, and the Bumbleford police force got out. There were 2 of them, and their names were Sergeant Gosh and PC Golightly. "This is brilliant," shouted PC Golightly over the jangle of the burglar alarm. "It's so good having some proper crime to fight at last." "There's nothing brilliant about it, Golightly," said Sergeant Gosh sternly. "It's our job as police officers to keep the people of Bumbleford and their biscuits safe, and we've failed in our duty. All these biscuit burglaries, and we still have no idea who the villains might be. I must admit, I'm baffled." Mrs. Oliveira, the manager of the supermarket, came running up with the keys. "Careful now," said Sergeant Gosh, as she unlocked the door, and they all stepped into the shop. As the lights came on, they saw the shelves of breakfast cereal and baked beans and tea bags all looked perfectly normal. But the biscuit aisle was bare. "Crumbs," said PC Golightly. "Wrong, Golightly," said Sergeant Gosh, running a finger over the empty shelves. "The burglar or burglars didn't even leave a crumb behind. Every single biscuit gone." "What, even the fig rolls? I didn't think anybody liked them." "Even the fig rolls," PC Golightly, "is just as I feared. The biscuit bandit has struck again." "Da, da, da," said PC Golightly, who thought some dramatic music was needed. "But I don't understand," said Mrs. Oliveira. "There's no sign of a break-in. The front door was locked and the back door is locked too. How did the thief get in? How did they get out again with all my biscuits?" "Well, PC Golightly?" asked Sergeant Gosh. PC Golightly was new to the force, and he was helping her to develop her detective skills. "How do you think the thief got in?" PC Golightly thought hard for a moment. "If they didn't come in through the doors," she said, "they must have come in upstairs somewhere. We could be dealing with a cat burglar." "A cat burglar?" asked Mrs. Oliveira. "That's not an actual cat who does the burglaring," said PC Golightly helpfully. "It's a name that we police officers use for a normal human burglar who's very clever at climbing up drain pipes and over rooftops. I bet your burglar got in that way." They ran upstairs to Mrs. Oliveira's office. Moonlight shone in on them through the big hole in the roof. It was an unusual sort of hole, roughly the size and shape of a very plump pony. The moonlight lit up a lot of little curved marks which someone or something had left all over the carpet. "Hoof prints," said Mrs. Oliveira. "I don't think we're looking for a cat burglar," said Sergeant Gosh. "I think we're looking for a pony burglar." "Da, da, da!" "Please stop doing that," PC Golightly. So is the biscuit bandit Kevin? Or has he been framed? You'll also find out in the book there's a much smaller heist going on, a smaller scale, and Neville and Beyoncé are trying to steal sunflower seeds from the Bumbleford pet shop. And here in the book, you can see them plotting in their hutch. Here's Neville dangling from a cable harness. And here's Beyoncé in a stolen getaway toy car. And here's a drawing of both of them spray painting the car to disguise it. Neville and Beyoncé love planning heists, so I'm going to lead you in a new comic, making a new adventure for them, but you get to choose all the details. So when I make a comic or a book, the first thing I do is design the characters. So I'm going to teach you how to draw Neville and Beyoncé. You're going to need a piece of paper, and let's go over to my desk, and you can draw step by step with me. If you feel I'm going a little bit fast, feel free to pause the video, and then you can sort of pause and draw, or just keep up if you're able. Let's go. So start out on your paper by making a bean shape. One of the things about drawing comics is you don't want the character to be too difficult to draw because you're going to have to draw it over and over again. So now you've got your bean shape. Let's put the ears on. up and down, up and down. Okay, and let's do the legs. They're kind of the same, like little L shapes. There we go. Okay, now we're going to make little kind of caps on the ears like that. Just a little bit, make them a little bit thicker. And then on the feet, we'll go boom, boom, boom for the toes. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, now let's finish off those ears like that and that. And we'll finish off the legs. Boom. And like that. Down like that. Okay, now we're going to do the nose. And it's a V shape, like that. And the arms come up like this. Or any direction you want, really. But we'll draw them like that for now. Okay, let's make the ears a little bit more solid. We'll put a line there and a line there. And we'll put a little line under the mouth, like that. And then a little smile. A little smile that hides lots of criminal intent. Okay, another line on the arms. So basically a bean with arms and legs coming off. And then we'll draw the thumb, because that's kind of easy to draw. So thumb and thumb. And then the hands go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And we'll do the eyes. So they're big round circles. Another big round circle. It might go off the edge a little bit. And dots in the middle. Okay. And then we're going to draw the shape for, that's maybe Neville, and then we'll do Beyoncé, or maybe it's the other way around. That's Beyoncé. So let's do another shape. Another bean. Let's have it facing the other way. Okay, and those ears again. Up, down. We'll just finish the ears, so cap them. Make them going like that. That. A bit more there. A bit more there. Put the nose, a V, a line down, a little smile. Maybe I'll have his eyes shut because he's dancing. So if you put him the other way upside down, they look like he's smiling. So either way. And then let's have his legs go like this. So this leg will go down like that. And boop, 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 3 toes. And then follow that. Connect to the toes. And then the other one, let's have his leg kicking up in the air. So we're going to go like that. And that. And then there's 3 little toes again. Boom, boom, boom. Follow them around, connect to the body. Okay, and we'll do a sort of John Travolta arm coming off here. And maybe a little cap, like a finger. And then boom, 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 3 lines. And then down. And then the other arm, we'll have it going like this. And another line following that one. And a thumb. And then three fingers. Boom, boom, boom. You can draw 4, but 3's just kind of fits better. Now, they're the same exact shape, basically, but they've got slightly different coloring. So if you study it in the book, Beyoncé's coloring kind of goes up and over her nose and around here. You can see it in the printout on my website. And then she's got kind of a white band around the belly. So if you want to draw all that in, you can. You can sort of add all the fur. Just lots of fur texture there. And it kind of comes down here. And then the lines, if you want to have a bit of extra for like jagged lines coming off, you can do that too. This just keeps it really simple. So every time you draw this character, it's not going to be too much difficulty. Keep simple is always better, I think, in comics. It just gives you so much more scope to draw more comics instead of obsessing over one panel, making it all perfect and the character really detailed. Okay, and then here's Neville, and his white stripe goes down his nose. I mean, you can do totally different coloring if you want. You don't have to follow my coloring, but it's just a guide. He's got kind of a round muzzle, so I'm going to make the hair go around his muzzle, and it goes right down to his belly, like that. So I'm going to fill in that bit with hair. You could also do it, if you're doing a color comic, you could do it with sort of white and ginger. This would be the ginger bit. And then he's got a kind of stripe around his belly. There we go. And maybe a few random little other fur marks. And there we go. That's Beyoncé. And that is Neville. Now you know how to draw Neville and Beyoncé. You're going to need to make some decisions about the story. This is called plotting. So the way it's going to work is I'm going to give you some multiple choice questions. And you need to pick one answer for each choice and write or draw your answer. And feel free, again, to pause if you need a little bit more time for each question. In your story with Neville and Beyoncé, you need to decide, what are they planning to pilfer? What are they going to steal? The crown jewels? Birdseed from the local zoo? Maybe an airplane? Or something else? Write down or draw your answer and pause the video if you need more time. Okay, next question. What transport will they need? A convertible toy car? A mini motorcycle with a sidecar? A miniature tank? Or something else? Write down or draw your answer. Next question. Which tools should they pack? Wire cutters? Cable harness? Clown squeezy horn? Or something else? Next question. How do they plan to escape their hutch? Wiggle the door till it gives way. A well-timed distraction at feeding time. An explosion. Or something else. Next question. What disguises will they wear? Sunglasses? A chicken costume? Cowboy gear? Or something else? Next question. Who might help them along the way? Kevin, by accident.
Biscuits?
Self-styled criminal mastermind, Baz Gumption. Pointy Steve. Or someone else. Next question. Who will try to thwart their dastardly plan? Will it be pop sensation Misty Twiglet, Sergeant Gosh, and Police Constable Go Lightly? Kevin, by accident.
Biscuits?
Or someone else? Pause the video if you need a little bit extra time to decide. Now you have some key points that you can hang your story on. But before we begin making our comic, let me just give you some comic making tips. We'll start with the boxes that often go around comics. These are called panels. And these are called panel borders, the lines. Now you don't need to make panel borders in comics, but it helps you fit a lot more of comics on a page more easily. So there's a panel. And we can do narration in a panel. That's one way of doing the writing. So we could say, meet Neville. And that's kind of like the voice of God or something speaking. It's the narrator. We don't know who that is. Meet Neville. And I'm going to put a box around that to keep it separate from the picture. So that's a narrator box. And then I might draw Neville. So here he is standing here. His little feet. And I might put a line under him to show he's standing on the ground. His little ears. And he's waving. There he is. And he says, hello, this is a speech bubble. And it's really good when you're doing speech bubbles to write the word before you draw the bubble, because then you can fit it a lot better. And then you have the pointy bit of the bubble pointing at whoever's speaking. Go right around the word. See how much easier it is when you draw it second. And you could show where he is. You might want to show some background, like maybe he's in his hutch. So I'll draw the hutch window in the background, just as a kind of focus point. So there's background. Otherwise, he could be anywhere. So there's Neville. And then I'll do another panel right next to it. So panels always read from left to right if you're doing English language comics. That's if you don't do it that way, it's harder for people to know which comic to go to. So you might have this where you're showing Neville's whole body, but it's kind of like making a movie. You can zoom in. So you might, for example, just show the top of his head. There he is looking out sideways. And Beyoncé's coming in. She's got big sunglasses on. There's a big reflective sunglasses. That's his big eyes. He's looking sideways at her. So you're not missing anything by not showing the bottom of his body, because you know that. You know it's there. Her mouth's open there. And I'll say, so it says meet Neville, and then I'll say, and Beyoncé. That'll be in the narrator's box. And I'll do a line around that. And maybe let's have Beyoncé saying something. So she's saying, hey, and I'm doing quite dark pen because she's saying it quite loud. And to show that it is loud, we're not going to do a speech bubble, we're going to do a shouting box. And it's all right if it goes a little bit behind that box. You don't have to fit it in. There we go. Maybe some extra lines. Just to show she's really making noise. And we've zoomed in there. We could zoom in even further. So in this third panel, maybe you'll just show the top of Neville's head. And he's kind of looking at her sideways. You can't even see her because he's just focusing on Neville here. And he's thinking without saying anything. Nose there. He's thinking, why is she so loud? And to show that's a thought, I'm going to make it like a cloud. And have little dots pointing to his head to show he's thinking it. And then, so we've zoomed sort of in here and in further. Now we could zoom really far out. Maybe I'll make a really big panel. A massive panel that covers the whole bottom layer here. So let's center that bit. Right. So we could have that narrator speak again. We didn't have it there because we're just letting Neville speak. We could say, it's true. Beyoncé is very loud. And I'm going to put a box around that to show again it's the narrator speaking. And then I'm going to show the whole of planet Earth because we have really zoomed out so much that you can see the whole planet. And I'll have her shouting, going, hey! And here's the little guinea pigs right there. There's one, and there's the other. And there you can see her speech coming out. And the thing is, you're not going to know that's planet Earth. That could just be like an orange or something. So I'm going to make it more obvious. I'm going to put kind of continent lines, sort of making it up as I go along. And we could show this as space. We could put stars in it, because that, and maybe a moon. Then it's really obvious that's planet Earth and not just some round thing. Maybe I'll put another narration box. It's true. Beyoncé is very loud. Hey! That's pretty awesome. So here the narrator is getting the last word. And if I want to, I could make this all black to sort of make it stand out more. Or just a bit of shading. Like that. So it'll take too long to color everything in black here. So it just gives it a little bit more darkening. And there you can see a lot of the different things you use to make comics, the different tools you might have in your box. You might want to add a shade on other characters too. Just gives them a little bit more texture and it makes them stand out a bit of fur and things. And you can put red in his cheeks. So there you go. We've got narration, speech bubbles, shouting, thinking, extra sound effects. You might even put sound effects like, here's Neville, and he just goes, sniff. A little sound effect there. And of course, you can always put your name at the bottom if you want to do your cartoonist signature. And there are some comic making tips. Right, now it's time to make your comic. If you go on my website, jabberworks.co.uk, you'll find a Neville and Beyoncé heist pack with some of the decisions I've given you to make, and also a template for making a comic if you'd like to use these comic panels. They start with Neville and Beyoncé plotting in their hutch. Feel free to use your own comic panels. You can draw them on a blank piece of paper, and that's fine. That gives you more decisions, whatever you're more comfortable using. I'm going to start making a comic so you get their general idea. So here's the panels you could use, or you can just go freestyle. So I'm going to do that. And I've actually sketched out, very rough in pencil, the comic I'm going to do. Now I could just draw over this in pen and then go and erase all of it. But I prefer to work in a light box just because then I don't have to worry about smearing, and I tend to work very quickly. So I'm going to put another piece of paper on top of this. And then I'm going to turn on my light box and trace. So now I don't have to stay exactly on my pencil line. I can just kind of use it as a guide. Now I'm going to speed up the video because the drawing takes me a while. So I'm writing Neville and Beyoncé's latest heist for the title, and then putting my author name by Sarah McIntyre, and then a narration box that says, mischief was afoot in the Guinea Pig's hutch. And there's Beyoncé and Neville, and she says, Neville, I have a new plan to escape. And Neville says, is it a cunning plan? Oh, and I'm doing the background so you can see they're on their hutch. They've got the cage behind them. Second panel, Beyoncé's in her glasses. She's got her arms crossed, looking a bit annoyed. There's Neville kind of pleading. She says, do I have any other type of plan? And he says, of course not. And there you go. And I can keep drawing here, lots more comic. So there you go. It's just another starter. Will they succeed or will they gloriously fail? The choice is up to you. Now, I'd love to see your comics that you make. So if you want, you or a grown-up can take a photo of it and post it on social media and tag me so I can see. On Twitter, I'm Jabberworks, and Instagram, I'm Jabberworks too. And also, I have a YouTube channel if you want to find out more drawing videos. And my website has lots of fun free activities, jabberworks.co.uk. So good luck with your comic. I hope it goes well. Let it be as silly or as serious as you like it to be. I hope you can check out more of our Roly Poly Flying Pony books. And thank you so much for joining me.